Out of Abraham, who did the Lord say, tell Abraham who the chosen people would be?
The chosen people?
Yes.
The Jews.
Right. Which come out of whose seed?
Isaac.
Oh, okay, good. Very good.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. My name is Barak, and welcome to our show. Our topic today is about what the churches call the rapture, but what the Bible calls is chariots, and the so-called white man called UFOs. Understand? So what we're going to be teaching you today is how the rapture is going to take place and who is going to be delivered. It's not going to be what you think it's going to be. Understand? Another thing, people teach and the churches teach that you die and go to heaven and salvation is when you go up there with the Most High. That's not true. These are all lies. What you're going to find out is that when the Lord comes to deliver his people, he's going to come what they call UFOs, or what the Bible calls chariots. Understand? Chariots are what's going to deliver you and save you. But what we're going to show you first is that you so-called blacks in America, it's high time for you to wake up out of your sleep and learn who you are, learn your nationality, where you came from, where you're going, what your language is, and so forth. Understand? Because you're in the end times now. The problem with our people is they don't want to wake up and recognize who they are. You so-called Puerto Ricans and West Indians and Haitians, you're the real Israelites, you're the Hebrews. You're that lost nation that the Lord prophesied in the Bible that would go down and fall under your enemies and go into captivity and go into slavery. So what you got to find out in these last days is who you are, okay? Who your enemy is, what language you speak, what land you come from, okay? And this is why we want you to wake up and see what the truth is. So now our topic today is what and how Israel is going to be delivered and what salvation is. And it's not what the churches are teaching. These are all lies. So now, the first scripture we're going to get to right now is Psalm 68, and we're going to go to the 17th verse, and we're going to show you that the Bible calls what the so-called white man calls UFOs are really chariots. Understand? They're chariots. They're not unidentifiable flying objects. They're chariots of the Most High. The angels drive them and fly them. Understand? And they're in the Bible. Psalm 68 and 17. It says, the chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. This is not talking about a horse-driven chariot. Understand? Angels don't drive chariots like that. They drive chariots that fly in the air. Yeah, those are called chariots, but those are chariots on the earth. Chariots in the air, the angels drive. And it's not talking about a plane. It's not talking about a 747. So you can understand. Once again, the chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them as in Sinai, in the holy place. So what you're going to find out is that when Moses went up into Mount Sinai, what did he see? He not only spoke with the Most High and the Lord, but he seen the chariots and the angels flying the chariots all around him. This is what he's seen. This is what we're going to show you in the book of Deuteronomy. Okay, the book of Deuteronomy and the 33rd chapter and the 2nd verse. Because when Moses got the 10 commandments, when he got the laws, statutes, and commandments to give to the nation of Israel, he spoke to the Lord, but up there, what he seen was chariots and angels all around. Understand? And this is part of history you so-called blacks got to find out. Deuteronomy 33:2. And he said, the Lord came from Sinai and rose up from Seir unto them. And he shined forth from Mount Paran. And he came forth with 10,000s of saints. From his right hand went a fiery law for them. So what is that talking about? Meaning 10,000s of his saints came unto Moses to give the commandments and laws to Moses. And those saints, once again we're going to read in Psalm 68:17, the chariot of the Most High, 20,000, even thousands of angels, they came in chariots. Understand? So what you're going to find out is that these chariots are what the so-called white man is seeing and this government is seeing every day. When they go up in their space shuttle, when they look in their observatories, they see these chariots, they see the angels. And you wonder how come they don't alert the public to this? Because they want to keep the public ignorant to what this is really about. They know it's talking about the angels. They know it's talking about their destruction. It's about their destruction. Because when the angels come, they're coming in these chariots. The Lord comes, they're coming in these chariots to destroy America, this government, and all the governments that came up against the nation of Israel, meaning you so-called black people, West Indian, Haitian, Puerto Ricans. They're coming to destroy them. Now we're going to show you another scripture in 2 Kings 6th chapter to show you that the angels came and they came in chariots and they enveloped all around the prophet Elijah and Elisha. And they showed themselves unto these prophets. Okay? We're going to go to 2 Kings 6 and 17th chapter. It says, and Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. Who is the person Elisha was talking to? His armor bearer, his servant. Because Elisha was surrounded by the enemy. And it was just him and his servant. And Elisha said, Lord, open his eyes so that he may see. See what? We're going to read on. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. So who was on these chariots of fire? On these chariots and horses and chariots of fire? The angels. So you can understand. When Elisha prayed and asked for the Lord to open up his eyes, he began to open up his eyes into the spiritual world. Man wasn't asleep. How are you going to be asleep when all the enemies surrounding you? So it's talking about opening his eyes into the spiritual world so he can see spiritually that physically common man can't see. But spiritually, the Lord opened his eyes so he can see the angels all around him, ready to protect him from the enemy. So even though you can't see the angels, they're there. You can't see the Lord, but he's there. And this is what we're going to show you. One more time, 2 Kings 6:17. It says, and Elisha prayed. He prayed for this. As his enemy was surrounded, he prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. So there was chariots of fire round about Elisha, showing you what? The angels drive these chariots of fire, and they were all around. And we're going to give you an example what this chariot of fire looks like. As you can see in this picture here, fire is the color of what? Amber or yellowish red. The chariots look like that, and the angels drive these chariots. They were not chariots, just chariots with horses. It was chariots of fire. And the so-called white man got you believing that these are unidentifiable flying objects. That's a lie. They're real. And we're going to show you some more examples on these chariots of fire. Now, what we're going to do We're going to show you in this book called The World Authority for Spatial Affairs. It was writings written up by the government, by Congress, and how they tried to suppress the so-called UFO existence. They tried to suppress it, but the Lord got it out anyway. And the Lord brought us this truth, and we're going to show you. It's called the World Authority for Spatial Affairs. And you can go to any library that is documented in the library. Now, we're going to go to page 92, and we're going to read and show you how they suppress a lot of this evidence, and they don't want you to find out that these so-called UFOs are real. First of all, they go through more evidence of how they look. And we're going to show you how they look, okay, out of the Bible. Because Zechariah, the prophet, seen them, and he's seen them in vision, okay? We're going to show you in Zechariah, the 5th chapter, and the first verse to the 5th chapter, the first verse to the 4th verse, okay? Saying, then I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. Was it a roll of a piece of bread? No. He's seen a flying roll, meaning something was in the sky, flying, and it was spinning like a flying roll. That's how the chariot, that's how the angels coming together on trying to figure out how to destroy these UFO forces when they come. But they cannot destroy it. You're going to find this out. Within the last decade, they have built up in our environmental space the deadliest and costly defense network of disaster strategic arms, or what they call it, SALT 2, Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty. They're making you think they're building that up to defend themselves against oncoming nuclear bombs. That's not the only thing, the reason why they're building this space station and these nuclear bombs out of space. Because they're going to try to shoot the Lord and the angels when they come in these chariots. This is why, secretly, why they're building this. To repel the surveillance operation of the unidentifiable galactic power. The chariots of the Lord. This is what they're doing it for. But they're not going to win. That movie they had for Independence Day, where they destroyed the chariots and so forth, that was a total lie. They're not going to defeat the angels. You cannot defeat the Lord and the angels. This is how foolish the so-called white man is. But he wants to hang on to the power so much, he's going to try to do it. He's the so-called wicked man in this earth. He's the devil on this earth. He's the one the Lord is going to come and destroy. That's the physical counterpart of Satan that's on this earth. Okay? Which have been these unidentifiable galactic powers, which have been deeply silent as the background motive for the SALT 2 agreement. And that's what you have, the background motive for the SALT 2 agreement. So SALT 2 is still going on. It's still in effect. They're making you think that they're doing it to defend themselves against oncoming nuclear missiles coming to America, but that's not true. For example, it says here on page 30, from 1973, an infinite strategic arms limitation talk, SALT, between the USA and USSR are blindfolding the nation, government, and the public at large. That means you. You're lost. You think these UFOs and these angels look like how the so-called white man depict them in movies, then you're a fool. Because they don't look like that. They want you to think that. They don't look like that. We're going to show you how the angels look. We're going to show you how these so-called UFOs look. Read on. It says, alarmingly indicates that as much as they are limiting to each other their strategic arms production, they are, with all speed, increasing their arsenals. So on one hand, they'll tell the public, yeah, we're going to decrease nuclear bombs, and we're getting together with Russia to decrease nuclear bombs, but in secret, they're increasing their arsenals, so they're lying to you. Their arsenals are increased with the most sophisticated and up-to-date arms applicable rather in outer space than on Earth. So why they got them in outer space? Because they're going to use them to try to shoot Yahweh Shai down. That sounds incredible, right? They're going to shoot nuclear bombs at the Lord and really expect it to work. It was the Lord that gave the so-called white man the technology to create nuclear bombs. Understand? To do what? To destroy himself with it. This is what you're going to find out. The Lord didn't give him that technology. He said, help himself. They help so that the so-called white man can help himself. He gave him the technology so that he can destroy himself. Understand? And we're going to prove it to you in Isaiah 54:16. Isaiah 54th chapter and 16th verse says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. An ancient smith was somebody who created, like an ancient scientist. They created things. Back then, they called them smiths. Today, we call them scientists. And the Lord says, and I have created the waster to destroy. What's going to destroy? What's the waster? Nuclear bombs, ICBMs. The Lord gave the smith, the modern day smith, which are the scientists, the technology to create nuclear bombs. That's so they can help themselves for what? When the Lord destroy America, they're going to use these bombs against one another. Understand? To destroy themselves. And the Lord is going to do this through the so-called white man. He's going to put it in their minds to destroy themselves. Okay? And so now we're going to show you how this SALT II, these nuclear bombs of outer space look. Okay? Here's how they look. The UFO forces, okay, what they call unidentified flying objects, are really the charge of the Lord. And here they are here. Understand? They look like birds flying in the V shape. Why? Why do they look like birds flying in the V shape? Well, we're going to show you. The Lord tell you in the Bible, that's how they're going to come. When they come to deliver the nation of Israel, and they're going to deliver us this way. I got news for you so-called black people in America. You're going to be delivered by these chariots. They're going to fly over the city and deliver you and beam you up like beam me up Scotty. Understand when you've seen Star Trek? That's how you're going to be delivered. And why you have to be delivered that way? Because the nuclear bombs are coming. And as they're coming, it's going to take a miracle, a fantastic miracle to deliver you before them bombs drop. That is what salvation is. Salvation is not walking into a church. Salvation is physically being saved from something. Understand? Just like Moses brought the children of Israel by the Spirit of the Lord to the Red Sea. And when they seen the Egyptian army coming at them, what did they do? They prayed to the Lord. And the Lord physically manifested in the physical world, from the spiritual world to the physical world. He split the Red Sea. And they walked through it and they were physically saved. Same thing's going to happen today, but it's going to be by chariots. And you have to be beamed up. And not all our people are going to make it either. We're going to show you that. All our people are not going to make it on this first trip. A lot of our people are going to be caught up in these nuclear bombs when they drop. So now, it says, as birds flying, we're going to read it out of Isaiah. As you can see, the V shape, right here, the V shape, as birds flying. Isaiah 31:5. As birds flying, So will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. That's talking about who? The people of Jerusalem is Israel. The so-called Negroes, West Indian Haitians, Puerto Ricans, and so forth. Defending also he will deliver it. He's going to deliver you by these chariots. Understand? And passing over he will preserve it. And that's how he's going to preserve our people and deliver us from the destruction, from the nuclear destruction that's coming upon America. Okay? Now, as you see, you can see in this picture here how there's nuclear bombs faced towards outer space, towards the chariots as they're coming. So when the so-called white man sends a space shuttle up every day, or every week, or every month, and they're building what they call an international space station. And an international space station meaning America and Russia and the Chinese and so forth are together in creating this space station to build nuclear bombs in outer space to try to shoot the angels and the Lord when they come. And the Lord comes again to deliver his people. This is what they're doing. They're not going to tell the public this. You got to find this out for yourself. And that's why you have to go to the Lord and pray to the Lord and search out for the truth. And this is what you'll find. Okay? And on page now we're going to show you on page 52, they tell you the angels, look like this. Or aliens look like this. With an oblong head, understand, funny eyes, hardly no ears, long fingers, 3 fingers, long arms. The angels don't look like this. Okay? They don't look like that. We're going to show you how they look according to the Bible. They look just like, so you can understand, your so-called Negroes. They're dark-skinned, woolly hair, and so forth. And they're terror. And they're coming to destroy America with the Lord. Now we're going to go to show you Ezekiel, 1st chapter, and the 4th verse. To give you a pretty good idea what the angels look like. Because they do not look like what you see in the Independence Day. They do not look like what you see on TV. They do not look like what you see in that movie, Men from Mars and so forth. They're not the color green. Understand? And you cannot kill them. Because also when you read in this book, the government like to tell you that they killed angels. Or they killed what they call aliens. That's a lie. They haven't killed anything. The angels are spiritual entities. You cannot kill them. They're already in the spiritual world. You cannot kill them. So they're liars. In first chapter of Ezekiel, in the 4th verse, says this. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and the fire enfolding itself. Okay? Now what did Ezekiel see? He saw a great cloud and the fire enfolding itself. What did he see? I'm going to show you. He's seeing a chariot in the form of a cloud. Okay? Now in this magazine here, called UFO, the UFO Star Wars Connection, UFO. Okay? It says Star Warriors, Battlefield Space. The Science of Phenomena magazine. And you know you can go to any library and get these different type of magazines. And you can see where we get our proof from the Bible and from documented evidence. Now, on page 70, it says, Ultimate UFO, the complete evidence. It gives you a picture of a chariot in a cloud. Right here. A lot of times you think chariots, you got to be able to see chariots. Sometimes you can't see them and they're there. Sometimes they're in the clouds. When you see a cloud, a lot of times chariots are in them. And that's why Ezekiel's seen this. He's seen, and I looked and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north. Understand? A great cloud. A great cloud. Understand? For a cloud. And fire enfolding itself. And brightness. See, fire. Because a lot of times they look like fire enfolding themselves. They have the color of amber, yellowish. And brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof was the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. So what do you have? The color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Understand? This is what you have here. So how is the so-called white man going to destroy this? They eat fire. The angels eat fire. How the hell are he going to shoot nuclear bombs at the Lord and the angels? They eat nuclear bombs. So he can never do it. It's not going to work. This is what we're trying to show you so-called black people. Forget about trusting in the so-called white man's military. It's not going to work. He cannot destroy the Lord. Okay? Verse 5. Also, out of the midst of came the likeness of 4 living creatures. And this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. See? And this is going to show you how the angels look. They had the likeness of a man. Because the angels could look like regular men. Understand? But they can come any form they want, but they can look like a regular man. And everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings. The angels have wings, that's true. But it's not like Cupid. The angels are not like little Cupid. Little white angel flying around with little wings. No. The angel's wings are like the span of a 747. An angel can stand 20 feet tall if he wants. Understand? 7th verse. And their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot. So these particular angels have a foot like a calf's foot. And they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. So what color are the angels? Burnished brass. Burn brass, and what color do you get? Dark brown. Common sense. You can burn anything. What color do you get? Dark. Understand? So they sparkle like in color of burned brass, burnished brass. They were dark brown. And they see the angels every time they go up in the spaceship. They don't tell the people that. Okay? They don't tell the people that. We're going to show you this. This you get off the internet. It said, go on the internet, okay, and log on to UFO.com or any related words that are dealing with UFOs, and you'll come across the NASA film E.T. Understand? And on this page, on the 2nd page, it tells you when they send their space shuttle up there, they see the angels all the time. They see the chariots all the time. Understand? It says this: cosmic conspiracies. Recently obtained this photo, which was taken from a still from the STS-106 mission. Jeff Chandler, who has been viewing NASA footage for many years, managed to capture this amazing image of a cigar-shaped object passing near the space shuttle Atlantis on its latest mission. A cigar-shaped object passing near the space shuttle Atlantis on its latest mission. And they circled it. You got the space shuttle here, and you got the cigar image right there. And you have to log on cosmic conspiracies. Okay, www.ufosaliens.com.uk, and you'll find it. Then it says, he states on the evening U.S. time of 10 September, Atlantis proceeding to dock with the new station. During this operation, several views of the shuttle's approach were provided by a black and white video camera mounted on the Russian-built Saria module, also known as the FGB functional cargo block. Okay, during one video sequence from Saria, Atlantis could be seen just a few feet away from the final docking. As the video continued, an anomalous cigar-shaped object could also be seen in the field of view. So what was it? They know what it was, but they're not going to tell the people that it was a chariot. And these chariots are monitoring what they're doing up there. They're not going to do nothing to them yet. They're just monitoring what they do. So now, we're showing you the angels are what? Dark skin in color. Understand? Now we're going to go to the 14th verse and read. And it says, Ezekiel 1:14, and the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. That's how the angels move. When you see lightning in the sky, what is it? It's the angels. The angels move like lightning. Now how is the so-called white man going to destroy something that moves like lightning? He's a fool. And he really thinks he can defeat it. But he's not. Okay, then it says in the 15th verse, now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his four faces. See? One wheel, going to show you, it said wheel. Why did it say wheel? Because the chariots come looking like a wheel, because they spin like a wheel. They spin. So this is what Ezekiel's seen, and his best way to describe it was like a wheel. Understand? Let me continue. Then it says, the appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of beryl. Okay, beryl can either be green or it can be white. So he's seen the color of beryl. And they four had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. Isn't that something? He's seen a wheel in the middle of a wheel. So what did he see? He's seen a chariot in the middle of a chariot. What he's seen is what looks like a wheel, and it had lights, as you see in this picture here, in this magazine, okay, called UFO magazine. And turn to page 12. It says upcoming events here. They show you a picture of a so-called UFO, and it looks like a wheel in the middle of the wheel. Why? Because there's lights all around the bottom of it. And so as it spins, it looks like a wheel in the middle of a wheel, as you can see. This is what Ezekiel saw. Common sense, that's what he's seen. Understand? So as we continue, it says, when they went upon their four sides, and they turned not when they went. See, the angels don't have to turn. They don't go right, they don't go left, they don't go up or down. What they do is they move to the particular spot, because they move by thought. They don't turn right or left. They don't make a right turn. They move to the spot. They move right, they move left, they move up, they move down. That's how the angels drive the chariots. But when a pilot in the 747, he has to turn right or left. Understand? Angels don't do that. This is what it's saying. 18th verse. As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them four. See? As their rings, these are the rings here, the lights underneath the chariot. So Ezekiel, what he's seen, he was looking up, and he's seeing the chariot, and it looked like it had rings, because the chariot was moving around. It was like a wheel in the middle of the wheel. It had rings. He was talking about the lights that's underneath the chariot. This is what he's seen. And he said it was so high and dreadful. Because that's how they're going to come. Dreadful. Dreadful in America. You haven't seen nothing yet. You think the Twin Towers was something? And the Lord brought that. The Lord commanded the angels to kill them people. But it came by way of the so-called white man. This government and CIA planned the Twin Towers incident for 10 years. But the Lord allowed it to happen because it's part of prophecy. And it's part of the destruction of America. Okay? And as we continue, then it says, 19th verse. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Which means what? The angel is saying living creatures, but he's talking about angels. Meaning the angels drive the chariot. This is what it's telling you. So wherever the chariots, the angels went, the chariots went. Why? Because the angels were part of the chariots. The angels are in sync with the chariots. Their bodies are the chariots. They can come in from. This is what you got to find out. So how is the nuclear bomb going to destroy an angel or a chariot when it's made out of fire? And the Lord can manifest those chariots into physical form. But you still can't destroy it. This is what you're going to find out. 20th verse. Whithersoever the Spirit was to go, they went. Thither was the Spirit to go. And the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheel. So the spirit of the angels was in the chariot. They drive the chariots by thought. They don't take it by the steering wheel and drive it like people do in the earth. They just use their mind. They want to go up, they want to go down, this way, that way, and by thought. So how are you going to destroy that? They can't. 21st verse. And when those went, these went. See? When the chariots went, the angels went. When the angels go, the chariots go. When those stood, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheel. The spirit of the living creature was in the wheel. See? So this is what you're going to find out. The angels drive these. And so, how could the angels look like this when it says they were of color of burnt brass? They didn't look like this. This is a mockery of the Most High. They're dark skinned. The Lord is dark skinned. The Lord is what they call a so-called Negro with woolly hair. The angels are who would be so-called Negroes with woolly hair. That's why when you read the Bible wasn't written by no so-called white man. It was written by the prophets of the Lord, who were what? Israelites. Who are the Israelites? These so-called Negroes, West Indian, Haitian, Puerto Rican, North American Indians, Seminole Indians, South American Indians, Caribbean Indians, of Negroid and Indian descent. You're the real Jews. And these chariots are coming to deliver you out of America. This is what you got to find out. Okay? Now, when you read the Bible, there's going to be a war in heaven. In the end, there's going to be a war in heaven. Revelation 12 and the 7th verse teaches you this. That the Lord and his angels are going to bring this war forth. And they are going to fight. So they're not building a space shuttle and space station for nothing. They're building it, why? Because there's going to be a war in this earth, in the heavens. What you think is the skies, so there's going to be a war there. And it's going to be between the Lord and the so-called white man's F-14s and nuclear forces and everything. And it's going to tell you that. Okay, now it says Revelation 12 and 7. And there was war in heaven, Michael and his angels. Michael is one of the archangels of the Lord. He's going to lead these angels. And the Bible says there's going to be thousands upon thousands of angels. Even thousands. Yeah, I'm going to give you I'm going to give you an example of how many angels. Okay. We're going to go to Revelation 14 and 20. It says, let's start from the 19th verse. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth and gathered the vine of the earth. The vine is talking about Israel. The angels are going to gather us up in these chariots. Okay? And cast it into a great winepress of the wrath of the Father. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse's bridle. Okay. The horse's bridle is what? How high does a horse stand? It stands pretty tall. That's how much blood is going to be in these last days. By the space of 1,600 furlongs. So that's how much blood is going to be in these last days. It's going to be a lot of blood. This is what you got to find out. It's going to be much blood. Okay? Now here's how many angels it's going to be. Revelation 5:11. And I beheld and I heard the voice of many angels round about the throne, and the beast, and the elders. And the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000. And thousands of thousands. That's how many angels it is. And the Lord's going to bring these forces upon America. And we read in Zechariah that this curse is going to go forward over the whole entire earth. Okay, it's going to deliver the Israelites out of their captivity and bring us back with the Most High. Okay, so now, Revelation 12, we're going to read about this war in heaven, 12 and 7. And there was war in heaven, Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Who's the dragon? It's talking about the so-called white man, who's the physical counterpart of the dragon, Satan. Understand? And the dragon fought and his angels. So the Lord going to bring the angels, the righteous angels, and they're going to fight against the so-called white man and his forces and those spiritual demons. So they're going to fight. Then it says in the 8th verse, and prevailed not. So they're going to lose the battle. The battle was already predestined. Who's going to win? Who's going to lose? It says, and prevailed not. Revelation 12 and 8. And prevailed not. Neither was there a place found any more in heaven. So the so-called white man's rulership, his place is not going to be found in the earth, and we're going to lose his rulership. This is what it's talking about. Heaven is talking about not in the spiritual world, but heaven meaning a heavenly state of being in the earth, which is rulership. He rules the earth. He's in heaven. Hell is the opposite, a condition played out on the earth. Understand? This is the 9th verse. And the great dragon was cast out. See? Doesn't mean that spiritual Satan was cast out of heaven, like a lot of churches teach. These are all lies. Churches teach lies. Satan was never cast out of heaven. He's part of the spiritual forces in heaven. He's part of the makeup of the spirit. Negative and positive. He's part of the makeup of negative. So the Lord can't cast him out. He's part of the makeup of the spiritual forces. What this is talking about being cast out of the earth, his vibration, and how the so-called white man is ruling the earth now. That's going to be cast out. Then the Lord's going to bring in the righteous kingdom, which as the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, West Indian, Haitian, Puerto Ricans, you're going to rule the earth in righteousness. The Lord's going to bring the righteous vibration in the earth. That old serpent, see? That old serpent meaning a serpent-like mind, slipped. Eve wasn't beguiled by a snake. Those are lies once again by the churches. It was a man. A snake can't talk. So what was it? A man that beguiled Eve, who deceived her and made her eat of the tree of knowledge and good and evil, which you're living in, which is the religions and philosophies and theories of man. She didn't eat no apple. Another lie taught by the church. You don't read nothing about no apple in the Garden of Eden. Yeah, they had them, but can an apple make you go off? Well, these are another lies taught by the church. It was a serpent, and the serpent was a man who deceived Eve. And yes, by the way, there was more than one people, two people in the earth during the time of Adam and Eve. Another lie taught by the churches. Adam had a family. He had a mother and a father. He had a grandmother and a grandfather. There were nations, and nations were in the earth during the time of Adam. Because then when he had his children, who did they marry? Who did Cain go off and marry? When they had Seth, who did Seth marry? But there were more people in the earth at that time. Called the devil. That great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil. Word devil means evil. See? So the so-called white man's evil is going to be cast out of the earth. What's evil? Everything he did. He went contrary to the Bible. He broke every law in this Bible. He's contrary to the moral law, which means what? He's immoral. His homosexuality, his lying down with beasts, his witchcraft, he's immoral. Understand? His blasphemy against the Most High, he's immoral. So he's evil. That's what it's talking about. And Satan. What does the word Satan mean? Satan means adversary. Understand? He's the adversary of the Most High. He's against the Most High, meaning the so-called white man. And the so-called white man's physical, spiritual counterpart is Satan. So Satan goes contrary. That's why he's an adversary to what is righteous. Which deceiveth the whole world. And the so-called white man deceived the whole world. Made you think he was a Jew when he's not. Made you think he was godly when he's not. Made you think he cared about you when he don't. He don't care nothing about you so-called Negroes, West Indian, Haitian, Puerto Ricans, or anybody else for that matter. He uses people, he exploits nations, robs them of their resources and lands, like he just did in Afghanistan. Went over there, robbed the people, used the Twin Towers incident to go over there and use Bin Laden's name, because Bin Laden didn't do it, used him to go over there to rob the people and rob the resources. What resources are in Afghanistan? Oil and drugs. Opium, which produces heroin. And there's oil over there. So what they do, they wanted to rob the resources of the land. And they needed a reason to do it, so they thought about the Twin Towers, destroying the Twin Towers. They don't care about the people that died in there. Why would they care about them people? They destroyed millions in the earth for centuries. Why would they care about 10,000 people? You don't understand the depths of the so-called white man, how wicked he is. And his angels were cast out with him, meaning demons. The demons, the satanic angels were cast out with him. That's what it's talking about. So the white man, so-called white man's vibration will not be in the earth when the Lord come and destroy it. That's what it's talking about, his wicked vibration. The Lord's going to set up a righteous kingdom. Understand? And that kingdom is what's going to rule. This is what you're going to find out. Okay? Now, we're going to go to Isaiah 66 and the 15th verse to show you how these angels are going to come. Okay? Isaiah 66, 15. And it says, for behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariot like a whirlwind. See, what did they see? The Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind. How? As birds flying. This is how he will come. As birds flying with his chariots. And they're going to come over the city to deliver the nation of Israel. This is what you're going to find out. And then it says, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. So I thought he was coming with peace. And these are all lies, because the nations and the churches teach the Lord to come with peace, and he's not coming like that. See? This is why the Lord says this in Matthew 10:34. Go back to church Sunday and ask your pastor, how come he don't read how the Lord is coming? In Matthew 10:34. And here's how the Lord is coming. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. So why are people thinking that? Why are they thinking he's come to send peace? There's not going to be no peace here. Did the so-called white man bring peace in the earth? No. So the Lord is going to destroy him through violence and bloodshed. So he's not going to reap peace. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth, because everybody's thinking that. I came not to send peace, but a sword. So the Lord is coming to send his sword. And what is his sword? His thermonuclear destruction. And when he brings it, he's going to bring it through the so-called USA, USSR, through their nuclear bombs, drop bombs on them. That's the sword. By the chariots. This is what we're trying to show you. Churches call it the rapture. Okay, and as we continue, it says in the 16th verse, for by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh. By fire, not by peace. There is no more peace. The love of many shall wax cold. So that peace is gone, out the window. So if you're looking for peace when you go to church, you're looking for peace, you're not going to get it. That's why it says, we're going to show you in 1 Thessalonians, 5th chapter, and the 3rd verse. What does it say? For when they shall say peace and safety. Who's saying that? Bush. This government is trying to push peace over there in Israel. And every time they say peace, what does the Lord say? Then sudden destruction cometh upon them. That's why they suicide bombers. Because it's prophecy. Every time they say peace and want to make a deal for peace with Arafat, the Lord brings sudden destruction and suicide bombers. Why? Because prophecy states that it's not going to be peace. And the Lord's prophecies are going to come to pass. As travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. This is why there's death and destruction over there, because the so-called white man is not going to escape it. You trying to get him to escape it, he's not going to escape this. You trying to pray for them, don't pray for them. Pray for yourself. Pray for your nation, not for the so-called white man. Why? Because he doesn't pray for you. He prays for your destruction. Isaiah 48:22. There is no peace, saith the Lord, unto the wicked. And who's the wicked? The so-called white man. So there's not going to be any peace to him. He's through. And every time you see destruction come upon him or catastrophe, the Lord is bringing it. And so pray for that. Pray for more destruction. Pray for more catastrophe. Pray for more floods, earthquakes, famine, pestilence. Why? Because that's the closer you're getting to your salvation. The more destruction in the earth, the closer you're getting to your salvation. By you rooting for peace, you're going to contrary to what the Lord wants. The Lord don't want peace now. The only way peace can come is through revolution and war and bloodshed. And the Lord says there's no redemption without bloodshed. Hebrews 9:22. There is no redemption without bloodshed. So you are not going to be saved without bloodshed. Somebody has to die. Somebody has to get killed. And that's the way the Lord is doing this. This is what you're going to find out. And so as we read 2 Kings 6, let's read that. 2 Kings 6, 17. One more time about how the angels and so forth surrounded Elisha. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened his eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots and fire round about Elisha. So this is what Elisha saw. He saw the chariots of the Most High. He's seen the horses, they were on horses coming out of chariots of the Most High. This is what they seen. And so they knew that the Most High and the Spirit was protecting them. Even though they didn't see it with their physical eyes, they had to see it with their spiritual eyes, but they were around them. They were surrounded. Two men were surrounded by thousands of men ready to kill them. So this is what you got to find out. And if you're sincerely in the Lord and so forth, whenever your enemy come around you, and you pray to the Most High, then the angel will be with you. This is what you got to find out. But let's show you in this book how the CIA is covering up this information. On page 81, they're covering up all the information. Okay? By the CIA. Is the UFO secrecy justifiable? And you see on top it says CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, the most wicked agency on this earth. Controls pretty much the whole earth by way of the Illuminati. The CIA controls everything. And they hate you so-called black people. Their interest is for the Illuminati. They don't care about America. They don't care about people. Their interest is just for the Illuminati. The CIA works for the Illuminati. Understand? And that's why they do covert action all over the earth and globe. They set wars up. They set World War II. They set it up and started it. They set up World War I, the Illuminati, through the agencies of America. They set the Korean War, they started. They set the Vietnam War up. They started that. And then what they do is they create their forces to fight one another. And then they come up with a solution to make you think the U.S. government is the righteous partner in bringing about peace in the earth, which he is not. He causes the right wing to go against the left wing, and the left wing to go against the right wing, while the Illuminati and CIA is in the middle. And then they say, when there's enough fighting done and bloodshed done, let's bring about a solution. When they cause the whole thing. This is what you're going to find out. Okay? He says the CIA is the fraternity of the American political aristocracy and the most powerful and dangerous secret cult of intelligence. This is what you thought they were protecting you. They don't care about you. Patrons and protectors are the highest officials of the federal government. The CIA is over every agency America has. What about Homeland Security? Bush started that, right? The CIA is over Homeland Security. All the police security agencies that the government has are under Homeland Security, except the FBI and the CIA. Why they keep them out of it? Because the CIA is over all of them. This is what you're going to find out. Its membership, extending far beyond governmental circles, reaches into the power centers of industry, commerce, finance, and labor. They control everything. They control the so-called black man, and they don't have to be in your neighborhood. The so-called white man's government can control you through the media, through your churches, through your institutions, through your schools, they can control you. And all they gotta do is set up some Uncle Tom Negro and tell him, this is what we want you to do. If you don't do it, we'll kill you. Understand? So this is why they tell these pastors and preachers to teach lies and Christianity and Jehovah's Witnesses and so forth. And religion. They tell you political black leaders, this is what we want you to tell the people. Go ahead and vote when voting never helped you. You know voting don't help a man. They pick who they want to be president. They tell your political leaders to do that. If they don't do it, they'll blackmail or they'll kill them or kill somebody in their family. They've been doing it for centuries and they're still doing it. Its friends are many in the areas of important public influence. The academic world and the communication media, they control everything. They control the colleges, they control the public schools, they control the elementary schools, and they control the religious institutions. The purpose of the cult is to further the foreign policies of the U.S. government by covert and usually illegal means. Yeah, of course it's illegal. You think they're doing it righteously? You think they control the oil over there pretty much, over there in Saudi Arabia and so forth, they do it righteously? You think the drug sales throughout the earth is controlled by men who are just in the streets running around trying to make a living? No, it's controlled by the CIA and the government and Wall Street. They control drugs. It's $1 trillion industry. What do you make? How do you think these banks continue to grow? Chase Manhattan Bank, Fleet Bank, Federal Reserve. How do you think they continue to make money? Through drug sales. Because the drug sales is what gives them liquid cash. And liquid cash is the best cash to deal with profit. They know that, and they're not going to tell the public that. They're making you think that they're arresting all these people because they're selling drugs in the street. No, if the so-called white man wanted to stop drugs, he could stop it overnight. Because he's controlling it. That's why he doesn't want to stop. Then it says, while at the same time containing the spread of its avowed enemy, communism. They call it a avowed enemy because communism, because it's not really an enemy. Remember, they control the negative, they control the right wing and the left wing. They control everything. So they set communism up over there in Russia. So that communism can appear to be the enemy of democracy. But at the same time, they set democracy up over in America. So that democracy can appear to be the righteous, the overly righteous political faction better than communism. And they set both of them up while they sit in the middle and watch America and the politics of America and the politics of communism fight against one another. But it's not one. And then they offer the solution when there's enough bloodshed and turmoil in the earth to make you think that they're the righteous ones. And that's the Illuminati. They're doing this. They started racism. Racism just means to be for your own nation. That's all. There's nothing wrong with that. The Lord is for his own people, Israel. So if you're for your own people, that's okay. The Arabs are for their own people. The Chinese are for their own people. So you're a racist. That's not a bad word, but the government and the media made it a bad word. And so they got you thinking to be a racist is wrong, and it's not. Okay? Then it says, the CIA, it engages in espionage and counter-espionage, see? They do both. In propaganda and disinformation, so they give you the wrong information. So you don't really know what happened over there in Afghanistan. They killed thousands of people, innocent people. When they attacked Panama and got Noriega, they killed thousands of innocent people. They told you only 6 people got killed. That's a lie, thousands. Disinformation. When they told you AIDS came from Africa, from a monkey in Africa, that's a lie. They created AIDS in their laboratories. and brought it to America to give it to you so-called black people because you're the real Jews. Now, how in the hell did AIDS all of a sudden become the black leading death cause of black people in America all of a sudden? Because they gave it to you. The deliberate circulation of false information, see, in psychological warfare and paramilitary activities. So the so-called white man uses psychological warfare on you and his military against you and biological warfare against you. They use diseases against you. It penetrates and manipulates private institutions, see, like the Black Panthers. They were infiltrated by the FBI and CIA, and they got sold out. Understand? The only thing the so-called white man cannot sell out is the truth. He can sell a man out, but he can't sell the truth out. So that's why the truth stands. And that's why you got to be a man to sacrifice and not make no compromise of the truth. And keep teaching it no matter what. Money is not going to save you, so the heck with their money. Then it says, and create its own organizations called proprietaries. Yeah, NAACP, they created that. Urban League, they created that. CORE, they created that. They created black institutions when necessary. They do it if it's necessary. Your black political leaders, they created them. You can't be a black politician unless the white man say so. So what are they talking about? You're going to find this out. It recruits agents and mercenaries. It bribes and blackmails foreign officials. Isn't that something? They blackmail foreign officials to carry out its most unsavory task, to sell out nations, to destroy nations, to start wars, just to get what they want. And they're trying to bring upon this new world order. And they're using, exploiting, taking advantage of, whatever they can get their hands on, anybody, anything necessary to bring it upon the earth. But it's not going to work because why? The Lord, they forgot about the Lord. The Lord is coming back with his angels and chariots to lay them low and destroy them. Okay? It does whatever is required to achieve its goals without any consideration of ethics involved or the moral consequence of its actions. This is the CIA. And you thought they were with you. They're not with you. Traditionally, the cult's hope has been to foster a world order in which America would reign supreme, the unchallenged international leader. Today, however, that dream stands tarnished by the time of frequent failure. Yeah, and it is going to fail because the Lord is going to make sure that happens. So while you sitting there praying for America, the Lord is against America. So the Lord is not listening to your prayers. Understand? Revelation 11. We're going to show you. That war in heaven is coming. Revelation 11 and the 11th chapter. Revelation 11th chapter and 11th verse says, and after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life of the Father entered into them. 3 days and a half representing the time spent from when we came here in slavery up until now, which is like over 350 years. 3 days in the eyes of the Most High is like a day. But to us, it's like over 350 years. From the time of 1620, 1619 up until around the 1970s, you got 350 years. So, and after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from the Father entered into it. Entered into who? Men who would teach you this truth. Because a lot of men know that a lot of our people know they're the Jews and know that they're Israelites now. But the Spirit came around the 1970s or so and showed men, wait a minute, you blacks in America, you're the real Jews. You're the chosen, which is the Spirit of life coming back to our people. And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them who saw them. Yeah. Because the other nations are scared now. When they see us teaching we're the real Jews and we're the chosen and the Lord's coming for us, they're scared now. Because they know that these prophecies are going to come to pass. 12th verse. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. See? Come up hither. How are they going to come up hither? By the chariots. Chariots. Who's going to come up hither? The Israelites. How are you going to come up? Beam me up sky. That's how you're going to come up. Okay, the Lord's going to beam you up. Let's say you're down there in the city somewhere, and the Lord's going to beam you up into these chariots. Your whole physical body. That's how you got to be delivered out of here. Not walk into some Christian church and think you're saved. It's not going to happen that way. Understand? So the Lord says, come up hither. And your enemies are going to see you being beamed up into the chariots. Millions of our people. That's how it's going to happen. Any so-called white people on them ships? No. Any Africans going on them ships? No. Any Arabs? No. Chinese? No. Who's ever left here in America after our people on them ships, they're going to be destroyed by thermonuclear war. Because the bombs are going to be on their way. And all of America is going to be destroyed. Then it says, and they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and the enemies beheld them. So that's how you're going to go into the chariots. You're not going to die. The ones who are delivering these chariots, the Lord's going to deliver your physical body. You're going to go in the chariots, and then He's going to bring you back into the wilderness and let you off the chariots. You're not going into the spiritual world and so forth. You're not going to die and go to heaven. And then the Lord, when He delivers to the wilderness, He's going to deal with us one-on-one to keep His laws, statutes, and commandments. Understand? Then it says, 13th verse, and the same hour was there a great earthquake. What is that great earthquake? The bombs dropping on America. That's what the earthquake is. And the 10th part of the city fell, and the earthquake was slain of men 7,000. 7,000 being a completion. It's complete. Okay? And the remnant were frightened and gave glory to the Father of heaven. Okay, and then it says, the second woe is past, World War II. Woe means destruction. And behold, the third woe comes, Third World War. Woe meaning destruction. Third World War. In the Third World War, who's going to win that war? The Israelites. We're going to be on top after that war. Understand? So this is what you're going to find out. This is what the destruction is talking about. Okay? And as we go to 2 Kings, the 2nd chapter, and the 11th verse, you're going to read how Elijah was taken up in a chariot. Give you some better understanding of how you're going to be taken up. Okay? He was taken up the same way we're going to be taken up in the end when the Lord comes. 2 Kings, 2nd chapter, 11th verse. And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire. Just like the way it described in Ezekiel, the 1st chapter, we showed you a chariot of fire. Okay, this is what Elijah, this is what the prophet Elijah and Elisha were walking. And they sing this. Okay? And parted them both asunder. In other words, the Lord had divided the two men. Because He wasn't going to take both of them, He was only going to take one of them. And Elijah, this is the Elijah, the prophet Elijah, went up by a whirlwind into heaven. See? Went up by a whirlwind into heaven. So the Lord beamed him up. Then the chariot, like a whirlwind, went up into the sky. Then it says in the 12th verse, this is what Elisha said when he seen this. He said, and Elisha saw it and cried, my father, the chariot of Israel. And that's what they are, the chariots of Israel. Okay? And the horsemen thereof, because out of these chariots the angels fly horses. Yeah, that's not in no dream world, no fantasy land. Horses can fly. Okay, and the angels ride them. But they come out of the chariots riding. And they're mighty. Okay, and he saw him no more. And he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in 2 pieces. So that's how Elisha seen Elijah go up into the chariots of the Most High. Same way we're going to be delivered up in these last days. That is what's called the rapture. But the churches don't understand what the rapture is talking about. They think that you're going to die and go to heaven like that. You don't have to. God said, why die when you can live? God said, seek ye me and ye shall live. Understand? And we get one more scripture here in Acts, the 1st chapter, and show you how Christ went up similar, the same way, or something basically similar, how Elijah went up. And it says, the 1st chapter and the 9th verse. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and the cloud received him out of their sight. Remember how the chariots would come in clouds? He showed you that? That's how Yahushua was taken up in a cloud, in a chariot. Understand? Same way. Taken up in a cloud. Okay? Same way. Same exact way. He was beamed up into the cloud. I'm going to read it one more time. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. Because the clouds can be like chariots themselves. The chariots in those clouds sometimes. Okay? Then it says, and while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel. These were angels. Okay, and they stood by and they sing Yahushua going up into the spiritual world. So this is what you're going to find out. That the chariots are real. And all the lies the so-called white man is teaching, and all the churches, the lies the churches are teaching, okay, you're going to find out the truth when you seek the Most High and ask the Most High about what he's talking about. And these chariots are coming to lay America down, destroy it. Okay, we're going to read a scripture here in Revelation 18:21. Here's what these chariots are going to do. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone, cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon, that's America, Babylon, America is Babylon the Great in the Bible. Babylon meaning confusion, the great city of confusion. With violence of that great city, Babylon, be thrown down. The America will be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. Shall be found no more at all. Okay? And this is what we found out now, showing you more proof about how the chariots come in and out of earth every day. And they see them. Here's something else we got off the internet. And you got to log on to www.Ufo'S, aliens.co.uk, and you'll find what you call, could man make this complex crop circle in just 4 hours. The angels are creating what they call crop circles. Understand? They call crop circles. So the angels will come down and see a big open field, and then do a design, draw a design in the field. And these designs are massive. And this government is saying, who did this? Because they do it in such a short period of time, no man on earth could do it. And they know who's doing it. Yeah, you got men who can do crop circles, but it takes them days and weeks, not in 4 hours. And as you can see, this crop circle here, the design of it No man can do a design like that. Understand? No man can do a design. That's a spiritual design right there. Showing you the angels did this. Now I'm going to read what it says here. And it says, one of the most interesting circles to appear in recent years appeared during early August this year at Mill Hill, Alton Barnes, Wiltshire. Wiltshire that has been named the Galaxy. This particular circle comprised of more than 400 circles, perfectly aligned in a psychedelic swirl. The whole formation measured a mammoth 1,500 feet across, with the circles ranging in size from a few feet in diameter to more than 70 feet across. John Lundberg, who is a self-confessed crop circle hoaxer, so in other words, this particular man, he does crop circle, but not like this, said if this information was man-made, allowing for the time to get into and out of the field under cover of darkness, the construction time should be around 4 hours. Understand? So, showing you that man could not have done this. Understand? Man could not have done this. This is a feat and spectacular crop circle that no human being could do. And they know this. It says, given that there are 400 circles, some of which span 70 feet, that would mean that one of these circles would need to be created every 30 seconds. And that's not even allowing time for the surveying, purely for flattening. So they need time. If a man's going to do it, he needs time to survey it and then flatten it. Showing you, man didn't do this. This formation pushes the envelope, and that's a massive understatement. Understand? Okay, so this is what you're going to find with these crop circles, that no man is doing. So who is doing it? The angels. And they come out of the chariots and they perform these things. This is all information showing you that the so-called UFOs are real. They're real. They even abduct people. They had a movie out called Fire in the Sky. Why do the angels abduct people? The only people they're abducting is so-called white people. If they do abduct the chosen people, all people, so-called black people, it's because they're wicked as hell. But they abduct so-called white people, abuse them, whatever, and then put them back. They don't kill them, put them back down to the earth. And now these people got psychological problems for years. The Lord can do that if he wants. Why can't he do it? You don't know the Most High. And so these are the things that's happening. And when you check out and read, you'll find out these things are true. So that's why it's high time for you black people in America to wake up out of sleep and learn that you're the real Jews, you're the chosen people, and this is how the Lord is going to deliver us out of America by what they call UFOs, and the Bible calls chariots of the Most High, chariot of Israel. Okay, until next time, I can say shalom.
Shema Yasharallah Yahweh Allah Yahweh Shema Yasharallah Yahweh Allah Yahweh Shema Yasharallah Yahweh Allah Yahweh Hear, O Israel,